I didn't just focus on the nappy-headed hoe comment because there was so much more to what Ima said. And that's the one reason I've said this is much bigger than Ima's. This is much bigger than the nappy-headed hoe comment as well. If you'll listen to the entire play, if you'll listen to everything that Ima said leading up to the nappy-headed hoe comment, he said, those are some rough-looking girls for Rutgers. They've got tattoos. Woo, they're rough-looking girls. So as a female athlete, I was tuned into that comment, because that speaks volumes to what this country feels and how it perceives female athletes. And so I think it's really interesting that we're focusing all of our attention on the nappy-headed hoe thing. Now, don't get me wrong. That was offensive because you covered all bases. You got race, gender, sexism, misogyny. You've got everything bottled up in that one comment. And so the country is buzzing, if you will, about the nappy-headed hoe comment. But as a female athlete, I want to take this entire country to task about its perception of female athletes. And that's not getting talked about. That's not being talked about a whole lot on radio and television and in the media. And what's even more interesting about that is that we are more afraid to talk about our perception of female athletes than we are to talk about race. We are, right? We'll talk about race, even though sometimes we'll talk around it. We'll talk about race. But we don't really want to talk about how we feel about women being powerful and how we feel about women having muscles. And I'd like to think that we can live in a world where my future daughters and my nieces and my cousins, my female cousins and young women all over the world can step into their power as athletes and not be seen as something is wrong with them.